Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. I got my green on, ready to roll here on this lovely St. Patrick's Day 2023. And the topic we're discussing today is what effect do the recent bank failures, two of the last top three in US history actually, have to do with the real estate market and especially the local real estate market here in the Phoenix area, guys? Well, I'm glad you asked that question because it's a legit question to ask. What's going to happen with the local real estate market here with all the bank failures? So we're going to dive into that. If you're living under a rock, you haven't heard apparently, but Silicon Valley Bank, which is the second largest bank failure in U.S. history, actually, guys, just had its doors closed and taken over by regulators with the FDIC. And Signature Bank out of New York is the third largest U.S. bank failure in history, and that just occurred earlier this week, just days after Silicon Valley Bank was taken over by regulators. So that's 2 out of 3. There's been another bank failure that has taken place as well out of San Diego, and there are several more on the list that the FDIC is watching closely. So what does this all mean for you, especially as somebody who is interested possibly in the real estate market and specifically the real estate market in Phoenix, Arizona? I'm glad you asked because this is the Everything Phoenix show, guys. Thank you for joining. Please obliterate that subscribe button if you don't mind. Ring the notification bell, like us, get us out to more people that could hopefully enjoy and use this information, guys. So this is gonna be a fun one because we're gonna go deep on a topic that is very, very much so applicable to many people here today. So as you know, I like to share my screen. I'm going to dive in and we're going to talk about what this means for the local real estate market. So let's do that right now, guys. Share my screen here. We'll go smaller. How about that? There we go. All right. So here we go. Mortgage experts. Okay. They're now have an opinion on this too as well. And one of those is this headline right here from the Phoenix Business Journal. Mortgage interest rates dip amid recent bank collapse, but Valley experts say it may not be for very long. So what does that mean, guys? All right, well, let's just read this real quick because I have some thoughts on this, thoughts that are very important, I think, because everyone has an opinion. And I think there is a window of opportunity here. Not that there'll never be another one, but a window of opportunity to potentially get a decent deal on a property here in terms of your mortgage. Okay, so here we go. Recent failures of Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank may offer a tiny window of lower mortgage rates, interest rates, obviously, giving homebuyers a chance to buy a home before rates go back up again. How long this window might remain open is unclear. So what this gentleman here, who's an agent in the Valley, and people like myself are saying that because inflation hasn't really curtailed a lot yet, unfortunately, if very little at all, the Fed will have their hands tied in terms of what they have to do with the interest rates moving forward. So most likely, there's a good chance that the Fed will raise potentially rates or keep it the same, guys. And also, too, the Fed doesn't want to be bullied by news, bullied by what's happening if they feel it's truly not necessary to act a certain way. So the Fed might be actually not incentivized, but they might purposely want to actually keep rates the same, if not raise them 25 basis points a little bit, just to show who's boss, right? Hey, we're the Fed, we're in charge. We know what economic conditions are currently happening, and we're not going to be swayed by potentially what the U.S. government so far is calling somewhat of a one-off, right, or a two-off. We'll see how that plays out too, by the way. But that's what they're saying right now. So that being said, if the Fed continues to potentially raise rates when they meet again here sometime soon, is there a window because rates have actually dropped due to this bad economic news? So if I go back to my screen here, guys, you can see rates right now. We're going to pull this up, Mortgage News Daily here. As you know, I love this website. If you don't have this app, you should download it because it keeps you very much so apprised on what rates are doing in the mortgage sector. But right now, 6.55, guys. As you know, just a week ago, it was about 7. Okay. And so with this new news, by the way, is that appropriate in a sentence to say new news, or is it just news? I've always wondered that, right? I never actually asked anybody. So I'm going to ask you guys in YouTube Live because hopefully you'll comment, let me know what's the correct way to say it for grammar. Okay. But the news, right, is that we have dropped about a half point, about 50 basis points almost, just from about a week ago with this negative news regarding the bank failure. So it's an opportunity, guys. So that's what this article is all about. It's an opportunity where the affordability of your monthly mortgage payment just got a lot better in a relatively short period of time. So that is a window you may not want to ignore. So here's some of those rates right here. In fact, they probably look at they pulled this from Mortgage News Daily. They know where to go with the correct sources. So look at that, guys. So you can see they're dropping, and it may continue to do so until the Fed potentially chooses to potentially increase the federal funds rate maybe a little bit here coming up. So it talks about what we just talked about, that the Fed paused interest rate hikes because of this. And obviously the markets reacted, and therefore mortgage rates went down. So that's buying power for you or anybody who's looking to potentially purchase a house. Now, you have the leverage right now as a buyer for most places across Phoenix, right? Not all places, but most places. Even though it's by quote unquote a seller's market, there's still not a lot of demand, guys. In fact, demand is very low right now. So normally that would be like, ooh, bad thing, demand's low. But really, supply is lower. And because supply is lower than demand, we still have a market in which sellers still have a lot of advantages in many ways. However, because you may not have a lot of people coming to your house to make offers on your property, you have the leverage to be able to ask for concessions, for rate buy down points to be able to help you get your mortgage rate as low as possible. So again, we just helped somebody get a 2-1 buy down on their mortgage just last week here, and it significantly dropped their mortgage payment. In the price range they were at, you're talking about $800 a month for this person. Now that meant all the world to be comfortable in the payment they wanted to be at. So it really does matter. Now, obviously, can they afford the fully indexed rate that they're approved at? Yes, they could. They just didn't want to pay that because it made the budget a little more tight. But in the event that they have $800 shaved off for 12 months for the first year, okay, that's pretty cool. It makes it much more affordable to be able to do other things with that money. So you still have the ability to negotiate these things when you purchase a property currently in Phoenix, right? All right. So going back to the article here, because I think it's some good information here we're discussing here, guys. There's a window of opportunity in which the rate just went down, and there was no reason for it except for the fact that these banks obviously failed, which is not good economic news. So you have these two school of thoughts here, guys. You have this school of thought right now where you have people who said, you know what, I'm going to wait to buy because rates are high. My payment's a little bit more expensive than what I wanted to pay, and therefore I'm going to wait. Okay, so we're waiting. Now you have an event like this occur out of kind of nowhere, and rates take a 50 basis points dive. But then that same person goes, this is literally just happened with the phone conversation I had just 2 days ago. Same person goes, you know what? It's kind of unsettling times. Not sure what I want to do. I'm going to still wait. Well, you're waiting when the rates are going up, and you're waiting when the rates are going down. So at some point, I think it's probably wise to discern which path to wait is better for you, because if you wait in both, then you'll be paralyzed and you probably will never end up actually jumping in, right? Or maybe you're just jumping at an inopportune time that really shouldn't have waited so long to do. So that's my thought, guys, is like, it's very easy to be paralyzed and wait because there's unsettlement, in many different things. But you have this window of opportunity where rates could go back up and you have ability to lock in a lower rate for this amount of time. And then, of course, if rates go down dramatically over the next 12 to 24 months for some reason, right, which could happen, then you can always refinance at that point to lock in an even lower rate for 30 years. So now, again, the people out there, the naysayers, are going, yeah, but hold on. If values drop along with that, you won't be able to refinance. And that is true. That is very true. There's still some level of risk with this, but it's calculated because the chances are, at least in Phoenix, that the values aren't going to fall off a cliff, because even though we have low demand, we have even less supply. And no one sees that happening right now, guys. It is been said by an expert who did a study here that right now Phoenix has a undersupply of over 700,000 homes. 700,000 homes, guys. We have an undersupply of homes right now for the amount of population that's coming into the city versus the amount of population that's leaving the city. So that supply is not going to get better anytime soon, which is going to continue to cause prices to not fall off a cliff. They might go down a little bit, might go up a little bit, but not just have this 2008 effect, right? So I think as long as you're in it for the long term, you're looking pretty good when it comes to purchasing a property if your perspective is more longer term. Okay, so that's that. We're gonna jump back over here to my screen, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about these bank failures, guys, and what it means for different markets here. So SVP files financial. Okay, this is their investment side. Files for bankruptcy as it moves to sell non-bank units. Okay, so there's a picture of the lovely bank, And we all know that the FDIC sees the bank, blah, blah, blah. Okay. But here's what's interesting, some of the stats here, right? It has not been traded on the NASDAQ for a week. Said it believes it has about 2.2 billion currently of liquidity. It had 209 billion in assets at the end of 2022. That's a big difference. Now, obviously, 2.2 billion is liquidity, which is different than obviously assets with the bank. But they are filing Chapter 11, which Chapter 11 is the bankruptcy where you have restructuring. Okay, so they're going to continue to operate in some capacity while they are going through bankruptcy proceedings to restructure the organization of the entire bank. So it's interesting what is happening now. Also, what's interesting is our government has come out and said that U.S. taxpayers will not be on the hook for any bailouts of any of these bank failures. That's interesting. Now, at the same time, I also heard government officials say that your FDIC is insured up to $250,000. So if you had over that, sorry. So I don't know if they're just planning on letting those people lose their money or what. But that's where we're at here with the government. So we'll see what happens. But I'm going to give you an interesting take here, guys. Dave Ramsey. Most of you guys know that. I'm gonna let you hear a little bit of what Dave Ramsey has to think about this. Okay. So let me play this a couple few seconds of this. Here we go. Listen to this. It's interesting. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. You can't hear this. Oh, okay. Thanks for commenting. Um, I will get that fixed next time. I apologize. We're sharing a screen, so I thought you guys could hear this. That's my apologies. So I'll just go ahead and tell you what Dave said. So by the way, Abby, thanks for letting me know. We can't hear it. Running at altitude. Thanks for letting me know. Michael, thank you. Tarana, thank you. Guys, I apologize. My fault. My apology. I thought you could hear the audio on that. So what Dave is basically saying is that we need to know is that this bank is made up of venture capitalists, private equity, what he calls players. That's literally what he said, players, right? Big time players, with an A, by the way. And so this is not Granny's CD. This is not your typical depositor who may only have several, $1,000 or whatever at the bank on deposit. So the failure of this type of a bank with the structure they had was a lot more risky. The people who are depositing their money there knew this is a type of risk they can take because they're used to investing in startups, in venture capitals, and they're smart people. It's smart money, and so when there was a little bit of a scare, if you will, and the media reports got out that maybe they weren't doing as great as they should be doing, and some things were going on, and that people were depositing, or excuse me, withdrawing some of the money. This is what happened with a bank run. Okay, a bank run. So on this bank run, what happened was about $42 billion was tried to be withdrawn in a matter of just days. That's a lot of money, right, to be withdrawn, and so that just exasperated, put fuel on the fire, so to speak, and then the FDIC came in and closed it down. So that is basically how this happened. So he's saying it's not a big deal to the average American. It's a big deal that people lost their money. Don't get me wrong, because that FDIC only insures up to $250,000. Which, by the way, brings up a good point. If you have over $250,000 on deposit with a bank, maybe, just maybe, it would be a good thought to diversify. Maybe you say you have, I don't know how much money, $500,000. Maybe you put $250,000 at one bank, and then you have the other $250,000 at another bank, so that the full amount is insured. not that bad of idea, right? Michael, good to see you or hear from you, I guess I should say. I heard that executives got bonuses before the collapse. I heard the same thing. I heard three specifically. I believe it was their CEO, their CFO, and their CMO, I believe, all sold a bunch of their equity or share stocks of the company about a week before the bank run occurred, and they made out handsomely. So how that works, I have no idea. But I also heard there's some politicians in the state of California that also made out handsomely and now are supposedly being looked into and investigated. So I know it's hard to believe that politicians will be involved with something like this and actually make some money with inside information, but just go with me on that one for a little bit, okay? So, anyways, thanks, Michael, for saying that because I heard the same thing, and it's just a shame. It's just a shame, regardless, right? Because it's just not right. No matter if you have a lot of money or if you don't have much money, it's just not right. All right. So we were talking about SVP Financial. We're not going to, labor on this too much more. They obviously are filing Chapter 11. We know that. Let's go to their commercial. What does this mean for the commercial real estate industry? Because that's interesting. Obviously, it's not directly the same as residential, but it's indirectly definitely the same as residential. Okay, and has a lot of indirect implications there. So, what will that mean for the commercial real estate industry? Now, what they're saying here is that there's a lot of obviously a lot of leverage occurs in the commercial real estate industry, right? There's big money out there. You buy a building for $20 million, you're going to leverage a lot of that typically with a loan, right? When you purchase that big asset. So now they're saying what's going to happen with that in the commercial industry. Will there be will industry regulations be tighter for lending on commercial assets? Well, right here, the most obvious implication for commercial real estate, lending access will become more difficult. Duh, right? But it will. And so what's interesting is prior to this happening, I have a good friend who actually works for Wells Fargo in the underwriting department on the commercial side, and he was saying that right now there are a lot of good deals out there that his bank would or his division would love to lend on, but they're not able to because regulators have basically said that some of these banks, some of these divisions of banks are too much exposed to too much lending out there in one sector of maybe commercial, whether it be industrial, hotels, or whether it be, restaurants, whatever it may be, right? So that being said, this is not going to help that situation. Abby, question, is that not considered insider trading? Listen, I'm not an attorney. I'm not an SEC attorney especially, but that's certainly it certainly smells like it or something to that nature, right? Or the nature. So yes, I don't know, but I think so to some extent, right? So not good when it comes to people making out when other people have a lot of misfortune. So, anyways, so tougher to access loans, and then ramifications for debt maturities. Okay, about 1.1 trillion of commercial mortgage loans are expected to mature in 2023 and 2024, up from 750 billion the prior 2 years, according to Cushman. Right. So, again, this is talking about the overexposure of things, right, on the capital markets for the commercial side. So it's interesting. There's still lending happening, guys. Don't be wrong. This is not a scare tactic. It's still happening. And if you have a good deal out there on the commercial side that you can buy and get lending for it, there is most likely a lender that will be happy as long as your obviously qualifications pan out to lend you that money. And so it just talks about the commercial real estate market. Obviously, it's going to be a little tougher to get lending and so on and so forth, and conditions may tighten, right? So there you go. Now let's look at the CPI real quick, okay? So I want to touch on that. The CPI, this obviously tracks inflation. The main thing I wanted to talk about, you can see where inflation is right now, which is not good, right? Still not good, right? We were hoping that towards the end of this year, which we still have a lot of time to go, right? We're only in March. So almost forgot what month we're in. We're only in March. So we have ways to go. A lot of experts are predicting between a 3 to 4% inflation rate by then. Right now, we're still not close to that. So here we go. CPI for all items rises 0.4% in February as shelter increases. So if you click on this chart, it's interesting. I mean, this looks like a consumer, Bureau of Labor Statistics website, right? Look at everything's just typed out. Looks like someone on a typewriter typed that font, right? It's crazy. But here you go. You can get really nerdy on this stuff, which I can and will sometimes, but I won't for the purpose of this because I'm going to be somewhat entertaining. But you can see right here, for food, for example, here's 0.4. Food away from home, 0.3. This one right here, fuel, oil is down 7% on the inflation side. That's good. right? Utility pipe gas service is down 8%. That's good. So some of the stuff is going down. In fact, more are going down, and I would say more of the categories are going up, but are going up by by a small margin, whereas some of these that are going down by bigger margins. So that's good too. So again, this is all leading up to the May report. They're going to have a report in April, but the May report, because the May report is when we said, some really huge increases in inflation in 2022. And hopefully, if inflation starts to come down a little bit in 2023, by May, this trend continues to an extent where it kind of curtails, if not goes down a little bit, then maybe we'll have some really positive news that the Fed then can build upon and potentially lower the federal funds rate. So you can see all that right there. All that to say that we are up 0.4% on inflation across the board for all items that they track. So anyway, interesting. That's at least I think it's interesting. Now let's go over here to Cromford report. All right, I always save a couple of cool things at the end, right, in terms of development. But let's go over to Cromford report. Okay, so this is interesting, guys. March 16th, right? According to my watch, that's 1 day ago. Here's our latest table of Cromford Market Index. Now remember, you guys know, put the banner up here for you, that anything between 90 and 110 is a balanced market. If you're below 90, you're a buyer's market. If you're above 110, you are a seller's market, okay? So here we go. A lot of green on the board. You guys know Q4 last year, a lot of red on the board. So we have a lot of green. I mean, look at Chandler, up 26%. Holy moly, right? That's really good. Fountain Hills coming in strong again at 186 on the CMI. And then you have Scottsdale, 135. I mean, you got some really, Avondale just came out of nowhere. Avondale, guys, was down like around 70, 80 back just 3 or 4 months ago. And now it's at 159. Again, not because there's this overabundance of supply. It's more so because you have just not enough supply, not an overabundance of demand, excuse me. So you see Buckeye still a big time buyer's market. It's going up, but so is Maricopa. So if you want to buy a rental house, there's still a lot of good opportunity down there as well as in Queen Creek. Okay. So let's look at what they say, because this is interesting. The market continues to improve for sellers with an average CMI, okay, of 11% over the last month. Looking especially strong are these certain areas: Gilbert, Chandler, Peoria. All right. Demand is stable and no longer growing very fast, but supply is low and falling at a faster rate. That we talked about. Demand's not great, but supply is low and falling even faster, okay, than demand. So March 15th, there are some average price per square foot numbers here, okay? But it means the average price per square foot, excuse me, for closed listings has jumped up 3.4% in just 2 months. 2 months, guys. Price per square foot up 3.4%. And then they ask the question, who is still holding out for a housing market crash? Now, if you're in Fargo or North Dakota, no offense to Fargo, or if you're into, I don't know, any place but Phoenix, it could be Des Moines, Iowa, it could be Indianapolis, Indiana. But I can't speak for that. Maybe there is going to be a crash in the next month or two. Maybe it's going to go down. But Phoenix, Arizona, which is what this show is all about, right now, guys, there is not going to be a market crash anytime soon. Could values go down a little bit? Could they slip a little bit more, a little further? Yeah, they could. I mean, they're off over 14% from the high already. But as we've seen by this market index right here, I'm going to share my screen again. Look at this, the CMI. I mean, you saw where it was here and where it went to at the end of the year in 2022. Look at this rebound, guys, and it's still going in the right direction at a 45-degree angle, which means it's accelerating nicely. Now that's going to curtail off. It always does, typically, right? As we head into the next 3 or 4 months. But again, the market crash, guys, it's just not there right now. And the main reason why is because lack of supply. Okay. Everyone always looks at demand. You got to look at both. All right. So there's some other good commentary here as well, I would say. All right. At a 131, the current index is firmly in favor of sellers and underlines why prices are rising again. Anyone who's hoping, I love this, anyone's hoping for a flood of supply from foreclosures is living on a different planet from our real world. Based on the number of notices of trustee sale being recorded, there's absolutely no sign of this becoming a possibility. In the YouTube world, perhaps, but not planet Earth. Guys, thank you so much for joining us on our YouTube world. I love our YouTube world, guys, but this is not a clickbait YouTube world. This is a very, very factual, pragmatic, give you the meat potatoes, data over drama, facts over fiction YouTube channel. And I'm so thankful you guys tune in to watch and comment and leave your thoughts, because your opinions and thoughts are valuable. And I guarantee if you're thinking it, someone else is thinking it too. Speaking of which, Abby, hey, Des Moines, Iowa, great place to live. It is actually, you know what? NCAA March Madness, by the way, is happening, guys. It's St. Patrick's Day, March Madness, squirrel. But Des Moines, Iowa, is actually hosting one of the regionals for March Madness. Here we go, Michael. What's up? What about retirement community housing? Do you see this being affected by inflation? That's a fantastic question. You know what? I so okay. I think I know which way you're asking this question. I'm going to start on one side of it, which is the values, right? So values in Sun City, values in Sun Lakes, values in Sun City West. These areas of the Phoenix area that are more predominantly demographics of retirement age folks. The inflation has helped them dramatically, as with everyone else, because when inflation goes up, guess what happens to real estate prices? They go up. But I think you might be asking the question when it comes to like their affordability, their ability to be able to afford a house when they retire. And you know what? I do think it's going to play a role just because, you know, if you're on a pension, let's say, or maybe you have an annuity where it's kind of the same type of payment you're receiving, maybe disability, Social Security, where it's the same type of payment being received every single month, but the expenses, everything else continues to increase faster than whatever it is you are being paid. That is a problem, right? It is a problem. So, and you know, the baby boomers are a huge population segment, guys that are occurring in our economy right now. So that's one of the reasons I believe, one of many reasons that the Fed is really trying to curtail inflation and get it under control. Because if not, there's going to be a huge segment of people, not just, you know, people that go out to work every day, but the retirees that will have a hard time affording just simple things like housing and utilities. So, you know, I think the Fed is doing the best job they can given the circumstances right now. Unfortunately, I disagree with how they took care of this situation back in 2022 and even late 2021, right? I think they should have been more on top of it. I think when the getting was good, they should have said, "Hey, getting's a little too good around here. We should probably increase the rates just a smidge to see how the markets react, so that we can kind of slow it down a little bit." Because by the way, slowing it down a little bit would have been just fine back then because it was so on fire, right? But unfortunately, that didn't happen for whatever reason. And now by the time the economy got pretty bad, things got out of control, then they had to just really drop the hammer, which then swung the pendulum too far the other way. And then now in Phoenix, at least it's now starting to go back up again, right? Kind of too fast. So because of lack of supply, primarily. So good question, Michael. All right. So going back to the CMI here, this is very, very important. But again, YouTube world, a lot of clickbait. Sky is falling in Phoenix, Arizona. The data says it's not. It's just flat out not. And so if you see me on there going, the market's ending in Phoenix, Arizona, be like, dude, call me out? Like, what are you doing? No, it's not. You just said it's not like 2 weeks ago. So why are you saying it is? Unless it really is, then I'll tell you and I'll put a big thing going, oh my goodness, on YouTube, right? So, okay, here we go. Rates are extremely volatile at the moment, so forecasting is unusually tricky. But the widespread desire to own a home is unchanged. The main inhibitor for younger first-time home buyers appears to be coming up with a down payment. A surprisingly large percentage of would-be buyers can qualify based on the monthly cost. Now that they are feeling a fear of missing out, FOMO, we might see a spike in demand, which can move the market volume back towards normality. And she says, don't say I didn't warn you. Interesting, right, guys? So again, understand data over drama. And right now, the market is doing just fine. So if you're looking to buy and you're looking to wait because you think that some big magical event's going to occur in Phoenix, it's just not, unless something really abnormal happens that no one can forecast at this point in time. All right, so a couple more things, guys, to leave you with here, because it's Friday, it's St. Patrick's Day. I'm sure you guys are looking to maybe have a green beer if you haven't already started doing that, or a green root beer, I should say. Here we go. 2 articles I want to share with you that are kind of interesting, I thought, because I always like to try and find something interesting, right? Going all in, casinos, guys. Did you know that Phoenix is the new Las Vegas? Okay, not quite yet, but they're trying to make it like that, okay? Phoenix area casinos are instead leaning into player perks, high roller table games, roulette, and more entertainment options on site to expand their appeal. So we got a little taste of what it's like with the Super Bowl being here, and a lot of the events occurred at the casinos because a lot of casinos are very, very nice. And in between events, before, after, etc., people did what? They spilled out onto the casino floor and wanted to play some Vegas-style games, not just hit the slots, right, or just blackjack. So now they're talking about, with the craps and with high stakes poker and baccarat and some of these cool games that you predominantly find in Vegas hotels. they're looking to bring those out and roll them out through the Arizona casinos. And so, anyways, and it pays a lot of dividends too, by the way. And in 2021, there was a new gaming compact that was, or gaming, agreement that was signed between the government, state government here, and the native tribes in which the casinos are located on. And you can see right here, here are all the different casinos within like the Arizona area, I'll say. Now, there's obviously a lot of these are casino, but this is all Arizona. You can see San Carlos down here in Tucson, right? But there's a lot of casinos in Arizona, right? I mean, that's quite a few right there, right? And some of these have more gaming options than others. Some are newer than others. But I tell you what, you can see the tables. If you want to know kind of how many tables they have at each one of these casinos, look at this. Look at Talking Stick in Scottsdale. 41 blackjack tables and boom, 59 poker tables. And then you have craps. Look at this. 2 craps tables, which is kind of newer thing. Baccarat, 2 baccarat tables. And you have, what is this? Roulette, 2 tables of roulette. I mean, this is house bank poker. I know what that is. I play Texas Hold'em when I do play. So this is, I mean, they're trying to go big. And some of these casinos, guys, are really, really nice. They have super nice steakhouses and entertainment, venues, so on and so forth. Holy cow. Not casinos, but concerts. Thank you. There's the word. Get it out, Kelly. Concerts. Okay. And big names that come there. So Vegas State of Mind, you can see that right now. And again, a lot of money is generated for the state of Arizona through casinos, right? So it just talks about that too as well. And here's the contribution right here, what they give back to Arizona. So in 2022, $123 million. That's not small money. So Arizona, any state could probably use that kind of money in revenue for the state, right? So big time for Arizona, reaping the rewards, and so on and so forth. So there you go. I thought that was pretty cool. Oh, largest casinos. Desert Diamond Casino, guys, by the way, is huge. If you have a chance to go out there, it's out by Glendale. It's actually in Glendale on the west side of Phoenix. If you want just an enormous experience for a casino, that's where you want to go. If you want like the high end, you want to go Talking Stick, maybe Bequiva, so on and so forth. Okay. Last but not least, if you guys haven't heard of this one, have you heard of this? Hawaiian Bros? It's a restaurant chain, more of a healthy, fast restaurant chain, plated lunch, chicken and rice, that kind of stuff. They are coming to Phoenix. And I got to give a shout out to my man, good friend of mine, Adam Stein with Stein Enterprises. He is a restaurateur, and they operate many different fast food franchise restaurants. And he is going to partner with Hawaiian Bros, which is a Kansas City-based island food restaurant. By the way, there's nothing that says Hawaiian food like Kansas City. Hey, they're doing something right. So that's interesting, but this will be a cool concept. They're doing quite a few of them. The plans are to expand those rapidly and have a lot of them across the Phoenix area. And the healthy, quick lunch, everyone loves that. That's where it's going, right? As opposed to more of the greasy food. So and Stein Enterprises, which is my buddy Adam Stein, is going to be leading the charge with building those franchises of the Hawaiian Bros out to the Phoenix area. So shout out to them, guys, and be on the lookout for Hawaiian Bros coming to a neighborhood in Phoenix near you. All right. A couple more comments here. Let's say, Nick, what's up, buddy? Caesars Republic at Fashion Square opening next year. Vegas is so jealous. Guys, you're right. Now, the interesting thing is Caesars is jumping on their brand on that, right? And relying on their brand. And it's going to be an amazing place right next to the Scottsdale Fashion Square in Old Town Scottsdale. But what's interesting is there'll be no gaming there. Yeah, do you know that? No gaming. But a lot of entertainment. 7th level rooftop, well, 7th level outdoor pool with unobstructed views of Camelback Mountain. It's going to be quite a hotel. Great experience for a lot of entertainment. But yeah, no gaming. By the way, DraftKings. DraftKings will be opening soon a sports book with a restaurant right by the TPC Scottsdale where the Waste Management Phoenix Open is, like right there. That'll be open in several months. So sports betting right there, DraftKings, restaurant, beer, bar. I mean, so Phoenix, guys, is coming up. A lot of things with the gambling stuff. So hopefully, no one goes overboard on that. I guess I should say that because I don't want anyone to get in trouble with gambling. Hopefully y'all do it responsibly, but a lot of cool entertainment options in the Phoenix area. So guys, thank you so much for attending and watching our YouTube live here today on these aspects and the bank failures. I think there's a window of opportunity in summation. So jump on that if you're looking to buy. Give us a call if you have any questions. You can always reach us at 480-660-5974. All right. Or email at info@cookandassociatesaz, guys. Appreciate you. Thanks to you for your amazing loyalty to our channel. And we'll keep bringing the heat for you guys every single week. And happy St. Patrick's Day to all of you out there. Be safe. Thanks, guys.